once the garden begins to produce food, which will be in the middle of June, potatoes and strawberries and raspberries, the job of harvesting begins. The soft fruits can be harvested and then put in the deep freeze without any particular care except to separate out the leaves, the bugs and the stalks. Then we come on to the green vegetables, the peas and the beans. They have to be harvested when they're ready. Harvesting takes a lot of time. To harvest a single bush, one bush of black currants, which might give you 10 pounds of black currants, takes 2 hours. So if you have 6 bushes, you've got 12 hours of work. So you can't avoid this work, and people often don't realize how much time is spent in harvesting and then preparing your food. Sometimes you're working till 2 o'clock in the morning to get everything in the deep freeze before you start again the next day. They've all been topped and tailed, so they're ready to be blanched. So I'm taking 3 handfuls at a time, putting them in the boiling water. I wait till the water comes back to the boil again, and then I take them out with this sieve and I put them straight into cold water so they don't cook anymore. As soon as you pick a vegetable, the enzymes in the vegetable start turning the sugars to starch. So every minute counts. We try and get them into the boiling water as soon as possible after we pick them and straight in the deep freeze the same day. And then the point about the deep freeze is everything that comes out of the deep freeze is actually ready to use in the kitchen. There's no more processing required. Whenever you keep anything in the deep freeze, it slowly dries out. The water slowly comes out of it. So as long as you like, but at the end, if you keep it for 2 years, it'll be completely dried out. So it's as long as you want, but we keep it in for 6 months without any problem. And when you're using a freezer, it's very important to have good quality bags. You need to remember in the deep freeze that when you put vegetables in, if you put the bags in, if you just throw all the bags in together and you make no attempt to order them or to get them into regular piles, first of all they might all stick together, which is a disaster. If they've got any water on them at all, you must have no wet on the outside of the bags or they'll all stick together and you'll never get them apart. And in the bottom you see these are all the vegetables. Black currants, these are parsnips and carrots from last year, peas, lots more black, lots more gooseberries here. So yeah, I mean this is enough for us for the winter.
Yeah, that's.
If you want at any time to reorganize a deep freeze, it's a lot easier if your bags are kind of square like bricks. Outbuildings are really useful for your freezers, and you need to have ideally a system where you can rotate stuff through your freezers so you're not missing out on old stuff that gets older and older, and you need to clean your freezer out every year.
All at the bottom.
Completely, completely empty it out, clean it out, defrost it, and start again. And the other, if you like, advantage of the freezing process is you've got a whole lot of material in individually packed bags which you can just take straight out of the fridge. There's no more preparation needed. We just put those straight in the pan, in the oven, job's done. You know, it makes the kitchen work really easy. And one of the things you need to realize when you're preparing food or working with a deep freeze, it's much easier to do big batches than lots of small batches, because you don't want to be getting all your equipment out several times over and cleaning up several times over. So like Ros thinks I'm crazy, but I'll harvest all the parsnips and then I'll do 60 bags of parsnips in one afternoon, just with a bit of classical music playing, just keeping on going through it, because then I only have to take my gear out once. I get everything in the kitchen ready, and I just keep doing it for 4 hours until I've finished, and that's done, finished. Whereas if I had to get my pans out and clean them, and I only did a small amount, the ratio of the time I spent getting things out and cleaning them would be very bad for me.